The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen. Brought to you by Medine's Collision Center in Baton Rouge. Take control, choose Medine's. Grosse Savant Lodge, south of Lake Charles, the true sportsman's paradise. Treads and Care Company in Central, the tires you need, the service you want. Harvey Auto in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you have trusted for years. And Gage in Baton Rouge. Get better connected with Gage. Here's your host, Lee Burkeen.
Hi everyone, Lee Burkeen with the Sports Scouting Report podcast. We're here at Mike Johnson's DiGiulio Brothers Italian Restaurant. If you're watching from Shreveport and you come to BR, Baton Rouge, it's about a mile from Acadian when you get off the interstate, or it's a rock throw from LSU on Perkins Road. Homemade food. They have brunch, 10:30 to 2 on Sundays. Great food. I'm here probably, I don't know, I have a sleeping bag here. I'm probably 3-4 days a week eating their food. Great food. But we've got Adam Kirby joining us first from Captain Shreve, the head coach. And then we've got Jimmy Martin, who does play-by-play for the school. And we're going to talk about how they were voted #1 twice as the best broadcasting team in the state. His buddy Tony, we're going to mention him later in the show too, but we'll be right back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, your host. Be sure to subscribe, like, or share. It's free if you like our show. We're growing it. We're close to the 800, 900, but we're having thousands of viewers and only 2% are subscribing. We're getting it, but the key is we have a lot of people watching the show statewide. But be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is free. Share it and like it, and wherever you get your YouTube, wherever you get your podcast, we're on Podbean and also Twitter, Facebook, and go to lafootballmagazine.com. I want to introduce the head coach from Captain Shreve High School in Shreveport, Adam Kirby. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate it, Lee.
Appreciate you coming all the way to Baton Rouge.
Always
you and
a
Jimmy.
good time. Yeah.
We're going to introduce Jimmy later in the show. You got the best broadcast team. I want to get that out the way in the state.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I do. Yeah, they keep it interesting, and they have a good time doing it, and they love Shreve, so I love having them a part of our program.
I don't know how all that's voted on, but I guess Jimmy's going to tell me. I'm in the business, but that's a whole nother atmosphere to try and figure it out. I need to know that, man, so I can vote for them in the future. Can I say that, or just we'll vote for them? Adam, you're an East Texas native, you told me. Mm-hmm. You recruited Louisiana when you were coaching college, and you grew up maybe a rock throw, what I would say.
Yeah.
If it's under 30 minutes or 40 minutes, that's not a lot from Shreveport.
Right. We can get from, I can get from Captain Shreve High School to the house we grew up in an hour, hour and 15 minutes. So grew up in East Texas and started coaching in college, and, being that close to Louisiana, I was kind of in charge of recruiting Louisiana. So did that for about 8 to 10 years, somewhere in that ballpark. Made a lot of friends and a lot of connections, which allowed me to come over here and be a high school coach. So it's been a good ride.
Talked to you on the phone before you were named coach, the year before.
Right.
And you've got a lot of energy. You fit the profile. If you have a lot of energy, you're going to be successful. Wow. You know what you're doing. I can tell right away you're organized. You have your prospect list done before the season's over for the next 3 years. I love that because I'm always trying to look at that early. Yeah. You're big on promoting your kids.
Try to, yeah.
And Captain Shreve has done a phenomenal job the last 10 years with just mounting these winning seasons, growing. Mm-hmm. Lee Hedges, we'll mention later with Jimmy, but 146 wins. 1984 was his last season. We'll have a picture later with Jimmy comes up. 8 district championships, 18 years at the school, but in Lee Hedges Field where you play.
Yeah.
And being from East Texas, what is it like studying the history of Lee Hedges?
It's fantastic. I don't think you take a position at Captain Shreve and you're going to be compared to Lee Hedges. Anything that you do, and I think that's a good thing. I mean, he set the standard for the program, and it's a tradition that everybody that in the school knows of Coach Hedges. We've got an alumni room with some stuff with Coach Hedges from their '73 state championship team, and I think Coach Sepulvedo really did a fantastic job of building on that and getting the program back to a statewide respect, and hoping that I can continue that during my time.
And mention this before we go to break, baseball state champs in 2006, boys golf 5-time state champs. That's crazy. And tennis, won a ton of them in girls and boys in tennis. Great tennis program, I guess, at Captain Shreve. I'll ask Jimmy all this. He can verify all this. I'm cheating with the other sports. I know about the football in '73, Adam.
I do have to say Keith Green's won 2 state titles from girls basketball as well.
There you go. There you go. I mean,
Coach Green, I got you, man.
There you go. Got his back. Great academic school, too, by the way, because it's not uncommon when you say, kids, give me your GPA from Captain Shreve, that 3 or 4 kids starting in the 22 have a 4.5 or a 4.3 GPA.
Yeah. We have a rule with you can't get on our prospect list unless you've got, a 3.0 or an 18. Now, the sophomores are different. They haven't taken the ACT, so we'll put a lot of the sophomores on there, but the incentive to stay on the prospect list is you've got to have those grade requirements. So
when we come back, we're going to show off some of his young recruits. We're talking about 25 kids, 24 guys that are going to be seniors in a year from now, 2 years from now. But we can't show all of them because we don't have a 5-hour show. But when we come back, Adam and me are going to talk over film we're putting in order with some of them now, and we'll let Coach mention the rest of his players when we come back. I'm going to mention the guys that are graduating this past year with him and Jimmy. We'll be right back.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life. Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
Welcome back, Lee Burkeen, host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. We've got Adam Kirby with us, the head coach of Captain Shreve. Where's Captain Shreve? If you're not from Shreveport or Bossier, it's in Shreveport. It's basically, and Jimmy might correct me or Coach might correct me, it's almost center of the city. And the stadium, Lee Hedges Stadium, is right by the school where a lot of teams play if you're not from Shreveport, because I go a lot. There's Thursday games there. So the field, y'all are allowing other teams that play there.
Yeah, we've got 3 schools that play there, us, Bird, and Southwood. And so we'll play some of our games Thursday, some of them Friday. So it's a neat environment for high school football with the city working together.
So, Coach, we're going to roll some film and brag on some of you guys. To all your kids. We can't have every video on this show, but we're going to get a bunch of them. Start with Devin Harper. Couple of plays on Devin. Big offensive lineman.
Yeah, he is.
Very gifted.
Yes, Devin's 6'6", 285. He's a sophomore, class of 2025. Currently, he's got offers from Louisiana Tech, Grambling, Tulane, Mississippi State. Real good player for us.
Trey Fuller, a DB, but receiver too, if Coach needs him there.
Yeah.
But a good-looking, tall DB, the way they need to look.
6'2", 185. He's got about 4.5 speed. He can fly. Plays center field for us. Can go get the high ball. He's got about 4 or 5 offers as well. 225
kid, got 2 years left.
Yeah.
Jamarian Otis, running back.
Yeah, Jamarlin Otis. He's got offers from Lamar and ULM. Short, quick running back, a lot of strength, probably pound for pound our strongest kid in the weight room.
25 kid again, has 2 years left. The next film is Lionel Prudhomme. That's a Southern name.
Yeah.
Prudhomme.
Goes with Prudhomme. His dad played at Grambling under Eddie Robinson. So
I know the dad.
Yes.
I know the dad.
Yeah, that's his dad.
Another offensive lineman. We could keep going with film. Keaton Flowers, who's been playing forever, 224 kid.
Yeah, he's a good receiver for us. Really came on the spotlight last year, stepped up in a big way, replacing Braylon Finney and Kendrick Law. I expect him and Jordan Wiggins both in the 24 class to have a good year for us at receiver.
Another video, we're going to have a couple plays. Landon Mosley, a lineman, 224.
Yeah, Landon Mosley, him and Greg Webb both anchor our defensive line. Both are phenomenal kids, hard workers in the weight room. They're going to have a good senior year and have some opportunities.
I want to mention this, Coach, because I don't want the kids that are still seniors in high school, they're done with football, but some guys to remember. Speaking of running backs, Jaden Edwards was one of the best in the state for you this year.
Oh, yeah.
Senior.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence Green, I thought a lot of him watching his film, his effort.
High motor, man.
High motor guy.
Yeah.
Aaron Holly, late bloomer, DN. Chris Allen, great center with feet. Big steal.
Northwestern State's getting a good one.
Big time. Bryce Lopez,
Mm-hmm.
another DN for you. Man, you got a lot of guys replaced on that D-line.
Yeah.
Scotty Simo, linebacker.
Yep.
Great leader.
Yep.
And then Marquise Stevenson, stud, going to Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. He's going to do track and football both for Coach McGuire there, and fantastic kid. You know, we also got Cam Robinson, who played O-line. He was first team All-District, first team All-City, first team All-Metro. He was on the Louisiana Sports Writers All-State team. You know, he's 27 ACT, 4.0 GPA. You know,
We'll talk more kids. I know you got a kicker coming back, John Chance.
Yeah.
Who's only a junior. He's got a chance to really blossom. He's got a good leg. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with more of Coach Adam Kirby, Captain Shreve, and we'll talk a little bit more football about Cap. And I'm going to throw out some more trivia, some history, some people that went to the school, and some famous players that have come out. We'll be right back.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Gros Savon Lodge, the true sportsman's paradise. Gros Savon Lodge has fresh and saltwater fishing, alligator hunting, waterfowl hunting, and eco tours located south of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Give them a call at 337-598-2357. That number to call again is 337-598-2357, and have the time of your life.
Welcome back. I hope you're enjoying the show with our coach, Adam Kirby from Captain Shreve in Shreveport. Great program, young coach from East Texas. I want to throw out some famous alumni of Captain Shreve. Actually, I want to give out one of my best friends who lives in Baton Rouge, Oscar Schoenfeld. He's an attorney that played with Roland Harper and Bo Harris on one of the great teams Lee Hedges had, Coach.
Yeah.
And he brags about Shreve every day I see him here in Baton Rouge, by the way.
that Gator family's pretty big.
Pretty big, man. So Jimmy knows this too, and maybe Jimmy and Tony can get him on the show. And by the way, Jimmy is color and Tony's play-by-play, because I had that backwards, and Tony, I'm sorry about that. Some famous alumni, Mike Johnson, not the owner of this place, who's Mike Johnson, but Congressman Mike Johnson, Adrian Perkins, former Shreveport mayor, Roland Harper, Chicago Bears, Bo Harris, Cincinnati Bengals, LSU, Adam Hamilton, music, songwriter, performer, Carlos Pennywell, Grambling, Sean West, pitcher with the Miami Marlins, Robert Moore, Atlantic Falcons, Scott Baker, MLB pitcher, Kendrick Law will be in the NFL one day with Alabama right now. His dad's on the staff still, right?
He's our assistant head coach and coaches our running backs.
Kendrick Law Sr., who I met at Booker T. Washington way back. And we can go on and on. Did I forget anybody or anybody you want to mention?
No, I mean, we've got a pretty long list. So, I mean, I would forget somebody before you would, I promise you. There's people I run into all the time.
Jimmy, I'll let Jimmy throw a couple out. And like I said, those are some people that I remember, and obviously Lee Hedges, who's still with us.
Yes.
And doing great, I hear. We'll let Jimmy talk about that. And I met Lee back when he was retired, sitting with the coaches one day, Adam.
Yeah.
And I'll ask Jimmy this too when we talk, but I didn't know Lee in person.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't pick him out, but I went in, it was 3 o'clock. Practice was starting this is about 20 years ago. And Coach budges me, he says, "You know who's sitting in here with us?" I said, "Who?" He said, "You know the name of the stadium?"
Yeah.
I said, "Where?" He said, "Right there." I said, "He's hanging out here helping?"
He's still involved. I mean, Jimmy will go see him, and he'll come back and give me updates on him and everything. And I know he would come in and visit with Coach Sepulvedo a lot because Coach Sepulvedo was with Coach Richard Larry.
Yeah.
And so, he's still very involved as much as he can be, and we like having him around. I think we honored him at halftime of a game, and so we love Coach Hedges.
Richard Larry, we lost Richard way too young.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. Spent some time with Richard. Had pizza with him across the street a few times.
Yeah, right there.
Before games. Richard Larry, great guy, and they're still to their family. Way too young of a man. Let's get to football in the area, Coach. Being a new head coach,
Mm-hmm.
you saw Longview, Carthage growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Newton. I
Yeah.
mean, all these great programs, Jasper, Hemphill. I mean, all these bordering towns of Louisiana.
Right.
Great Texas programs.
Yeah.
Texarkana, their teams. What do you think of Shreveport football compared to East Texas football?
I think it's very comparable. Having recruited the state, and recruited the area of Shreveport very heavily, and growing up in East Texas, I think, program to program, they probably have a little bit more resources, with their indoors and things of that nature. And but as far as, the kids and the type of football, our kids take a lot of pride in football. They want to use football to get a college education, so it's important to them. It's important to their families. So I think it's very comparable. And you look at some of those battle on the border matchups that, Longview used to come over and play West Monroe.
Yeah.
Those games were not blowouts either way,
Right.
And that's one of the best Texas has to offer, and certainly one of the best Louisiana has to offer. So I would say it's very comparable.
What people don't, a lot of people don't know this in South Louisiana. Some do, but if you're just a regular fan and you don't follow the whole state, is the appreciation. I think people sleep on Shreveport when it comes to playoffs. But if you look at all the state championships, Evangel, Christians won, how competitive Bird is every year, Captain Shreve, Lola Prep, Green Oaks. I mean, they've putting players out like Woodlawn in their history, with Terry Bradshaw, Joe Ferguson, James Gilliard, go on. And then you go all in the surrounding areas, and you got Calvary Baptist, you got North DeSoto, the Mendons, the Haughtons.
Yeah.
If I leave somebody out, guys, don't get mad at me, coaches. But
No, I mean,
there's
Parkway
so much
had
good football.
players. Benton's got the Pierce Russell
Airline.
kid, Gray Walters. I mean, our whole district is really a district that's got players everywhere. They've got really good head coaches, really good assistant coaches. They're coached well, and they've got good players. I mean, I would put our district up against anybody.
Coach, before we end, what would you like to say? Would you like to thank anybody for getting you into coaching, anybody that you say, hey, this guy helped me or made me want to become a coach?
Oh, absolutely. My high school coach, Robert Locke, we still talk 3 to 4 times a week. He changed my life, was really a strong influence on me, kind of showed me that this is something I'd want to do for a living, is help kids and be around football every day. I mean, I don't know of a better job. And then also I'd like to thank my wife. She stays at home with our twin 4-year-olds while I work, right, coaching football.
You're a smart man.
No, I mean, the things I tell her all the time, the things she sacrificed, she's given up a lot of her goals so that I can chase mine. And by staying at home with our boys, which allows me to work longer hours, and I wouldn't be sitting in this chair without my wife. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you. And obviously Coach Sepulvedo as well. He's meant a lot to my career. We've been friends a long time, and for him bringing me to Shreve. So if I had to give a shout out, it'd be to those 3.
Look, coaches' wives, special people.
Yeah.
80-hour week, 100-hour week. I mean, that is.
She'll get to heaven before I will, I promise you. Yeah, she will.
One final thing, and I'll tell my producer, we're just going to go over just a little bit. LSU people want to know this.
Sure.
How many of your guys you think are LSU guys when they're done? Obviously, you got a few coming up.
Realistically, I'd say 2 to 3.
That's a lot.
Yeah, in that 25 class. 2 of them are scheduled to go on visits, and I think Lionel Prudhomme, LJ, he's a guy that he moved to O-line week 5 out of necessity, and he just is a natural.
Yeah.
And he's 6'3", 285 at guard. He's not done growing. His hands are huge. His dad's huge. So I think if he continues to grow and play with the same physicality and improves on his strength, he could be 6'5", 290 by the time he graduates, which is what you're looking for in an SEC lineman. So realistically, I'd say we've probably got 2 to 3 guys that could play at that SEC level.
And we'll see what happens with Devin Harper when he's done. He's another big guy. You got some big linemen.
He's definitely one of the 2 or 3.
I got some big linemen, man, the last 3 years. Unbelievable.
If I could just get the O-line coach to coach him a little bit better.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I can't get that.
You're the O-line coach.
Yeah, still.
Just so people know that inside joke.
That's
Coach,
me.
Thank you, man.
No, I enjoyed it. Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
We got Jimmy coming on. Color guy. Color, not play-by-play. Tony, we'll talk about Tony's full name, who does play-by-play. They have the best broadcasting team in the city of Shreveport, in the state. We're going to introduce Jimmy Martin when we come back.
Listen, whatever you're driving right now, Tommy Harvey wants it. Bring it in to Harvey Subaru, Lexus of Shreveport, Bossier City, or John Harvey Toyota. They're paying big bucks for all trades right now. They'll cut you a check right there. Tell them Lee sent you.
What does that bug man do?
Not only do we do pest control, we do odor control, bat removal, moisture control, rodents, and of course, bed bug control. Give the bug man a call. We get them before they get you.
Hi, everyone. Lee Burkeen back with the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share. You know, being a 52-year-old guy, I didn't even know what this was about a year ago. I hate to say it, but Jimmy Martin,
Yeah,
I'm still learning, man.
You're doing a great job.
Still learning. Now, doing a show is good, and scouting and watching games, but having to learn every day. But, yeah, go subscribe. Please subscribe, Jimmy, to our show. And Coach did a good job. Huh?
He did a real good job. I got to follow up with that. That's
Oh,
kind of a
man.
hard act to follow, you know.
Well, let me brag on Jimmy Martin. We're going to try and do this like speedy real quick, but former kicker from Captain Shreve in 86.
86.
Graduate, went to Tech.
Graduate 91.
91. Matt Stover was there, though.
He was there. Unfortunately, he was there and beat me out. But, hey, you get beat out by one of the best.
Those first practices, you're like trying to hit 50, and he's just like tapping it. And he's going
He's
55.
tapping it, yeah.
Kicking off through the goalposts and the trees or whatever at Tech. But, Jimmy, you're doing color.
Right.
Brag on your play-by-play guy.
Oh, Tony Tagliavore. He's a great guy. He's professional. He has a Tiger radio show he does. He owns Sweet Loot Media. He was been on Channel 12 years ago doing the news. Yeah. So for me to come into the booth knowing football but not knowing broadcasting, he really took me under his wing. He's really a pro. And after 5 years, we really worked well together.
Y'all have won twice the best broadcast team in the state, pending maybe 3.
Pending 3. And Tony wanted me to make sure it's a Louisiana Sports Writers Association. They have private judges that vote on it.
Gotcha. I learned something, too. I didn't know that. And I can vote on it now. I didn't even vote the last 25, 30 years.
Well, vote for me then next time.
Vote, yeah, man. There we go. Jimmy, tell everybody, because you saw this thing turn at Shreve. There was a time where maybe winning a game was hard. The last, 18, 20 years ago, 16 years ago, 14 years ago. And all of a sudden, the last 10 years, Shreve started winning games.
When you mentioned Lee Hedges, he was my coach, and he retired my junior year. And we helped win his last football game. I actually kicked the field goal in Independence Stadium.
Wow.
We beat Huntington 3-0.
And we're going to use a picture, 84 team. 84 team.
But at the time, we didn't know that. And going back to, you mentioned Lee Hedges, when you grew up in elementary school and you saw a Captain Shreve football player, man, Lee Hedges was like Vince Lombardi.
He was the guy.
He was the guy. And back then, it was neighborhood schools. So Southwood had their turf, Woodline had their turf, we have our turf. Now, you can pretty much pick where you want to go. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Lee Hedges took over in 67. That was his only losing season. He had winning seasons up until 84. His 73 team is the last Shreveport Bossier team to win state. Public school to win state. Wow. Public. But back then, we took winning for granted. We came one game from going to state my sophomore year. Then in the 90s, kind of took a bump.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Richard Larry. He was real close to Coach Sepulveda. He had an untimely death. Coach Sepulveda will always credit this program on Richard Larry, bringing him over.
Laying the bricks.
Laying the bricks. And, for example, Shreve, and Coach Kirby alluded to this, we in a hard district. If you look at our district, it's tough.
Brutal.
The last 5 years, we've gone 22-12 in district. The prior 5 years, we went like 6-21. Yeah. So you got to win your district games. But I think it all goes back to the foundation. Yes, we had some low years. Last 4 years, we won district twice. Prior to that, we won district in 2005. But the key is the groundwork by Richard Larry Sepulveda and now Coach Kirby. Yeah. It gives the groundwork, and we get into athletes because it's all about that athletes coming in and play for the coaches.
Jimmy, what is it like? Obviously, you're an alumnus of the school. You're doing the games for your old school. What's it like to get in the broadcast booth on a Friday night or Thursday night, whether y'all playing Bird or whoever it is, what's it like to do games where you played?
Oh, it's and my son played there. That was really special to me. But to be up there, you always reminisce. Yeah. Of course, I never get used. Shreve's on the press box side. Back when I played, it was on the other side. But no, it's really a lot of fond memories. And and when they asked me to do this is not about me reliving my old glory days. Yeah. I go out, I help coach the kickers. I go out and get to know the players. So when I talk about them on the radio, because when I have just a short time in between plays to talk about them, I know the kids, and I really like promoting the kids, and it really is a good feeling going out to getting to know these young men. And it's sad also when they leave after 4 years and graduate because it comes and goes too quickly.
I know we can't comment long on it because I'm trying to get a couple more things in, but Kicker University in the next 2 years, some of the best kickers in the country are coming out of Shreveport-Bossier.
I'm not going to take full credit for that. What I teach them is when I came through kicking. Keep it short. Yeah. I had 2 40-yard field goals. I was a handful of kickers that did that in a career. Now they kick in 250s in a game. But I tell them the key is, going back to Matt Stover, Matt Stover had it up here. Kids can do a dime a dozen 50 now because of soccer, because of technique. Right. You see that in the pros. Right. But can you do it when the game's on the line?
Fans.
The lights are on and the game's on the line.
They always say, man, that kid looked good in the spring game with 500 people in the stands. Right. What about 95,000?
There you go.
Screaming.
And this is to win the game. Whole different ball game.
And it's raining or it's windy.
And 11 people running at you cussing at your mother, too. So there you go. You have that at you. So,
Not getting affected by it. And then kickoffs.
Yeah, I tell these kickers now get a scholarship just for kicking off. Just like long snappers. They have a position for long snappers. It's definitely a specialty.
Unbelievable. Bird's got a great kicker coming up. Y'all have Chance. And then Parkway Burrell.
He kicked a 50 to win a game.
There's a couple other ones.
It's crazy. It's really crazy, yeah. But these guys, going back to what you're saying with them, these kids are able to go to camps, be seen, and really get their name out there.
Well, any final thoughts, Jimmy, that you want to talk about with Shreve? Anybody that you want to thank?
Well, I'll tell you, it was always a pleasure. I met with Coach Hedges a while back, interviewed him, and I told him 3 things really affected me in life: my parents, God, and Coach Lee Hedges. And if you talk to any of his players, he was a guiding force. And if I ever get in a situation where I go, should I go left or right? If you say, what would Coach Hedges do? And you do that, you probably did the right thing. Coach Reeves was my coach my senior year. But going back to, they were idols, they were role models. And a lot of what you do in life, you look back at sports, groomed you for life.
I don't know Coach Hedges like you do, but the few times I met him, he reminded me of Tom Osborne.
He's a great man.
Just laid back.
And
calm.
I bragged when I interviewed him, because I have interviews at halftime of the show. I interviewed him, and he never, if you say something good, it wasn't me, it was a team. He never takes credit to this day for anything. He's humble.
Jimmy, appreciate what you and Tony do with the broadcast booth, and then obviously helping Coach Kirby out.
Well, it's special back in my alma mater. It's really special to be able to have the platform I have.
And hopefully I won't replay, though. I won't replay in high school, because these guys can say, wait, we're going to overturn that fumble.
Yeah, I have to bite my tongue every now and then.
Right. That's a hard one in the booth.
That's a hard one in the booth.
Wait a minute, that was a fumble.
But I want to say one thing, though, too. Everyone says I have a face made for radio. I appreciate you giving me a chance here on TV.
Oh, man, I appreciate Jimmy Martin coming on. I met you about 6 years ago at a game, and really appreciate what you and Tony do.
And the invite's there. If you ever come up to Shreveport, come sit halftime. I'd love to have you up.
Oh, man, I'd love to do it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you, Jimmy. That was Coach Kirby, Jimmy Martin, Adam Kirby, Jimmy Martin, Tony, color. Want to make sure we
make sure
play-by-play.
Play-by-play.
This is the color guy. This is the color guy.
Don't make Tony mad. He's Batman. I'm Robin. That's my role.
Hey, it works. Y'all got a great team.
Thanks.
Hope everybody enjoyed the show, and we will see everybody on Friday.
Thanks for listening to the Sports Scouting Report podcast with Lee King.